We also use test strips to test for 4 different parameters: chlorine, pH, alkalinity, and hardness. You might be surprised that we're testing for chlorine, but in some urban centers, people are getting quite high readings, showing that water is being chlorinated there. The most important for ecosystem health, though, is pH. And what we want it to be is between 6 and 8. If it's lower than that, it's something called acidic. And it means that fish and amphibians can't breathe. If it's too high, we call it basic. And you might think of things like soap that are basic, and that's really harsh on ecosystems as well. Things like algae blooms also cause pH to go up. So we want to make sure that the pH stays in the nice range between 6 and 8. Then we have alkalinity and hardness. Hardness is a measure of calcium and magnesium in water bodies, and every body of water has its own normal. So you're going to see a relationship between your test strip readings for hardness and alkalinity and things like conductivity. So they're all measuring some of the same things. Always make sure that you have dry hands when you're taking your test strips out. So my hands are dry. And this one I shake a test strip out, and then you always make sure you close your container right away. You want to make sure that those really stay dry. This is a sample I just took from the water here. I'm going to dip it in for 2 seconds. 1, 2, and then I'm going to wait 20 seconds, after which I'm going to compare vertically like this. And here I'm reading chlorine of 0. pH looks between 7.2 and 7.5. So I'm going to take the absolute center, 7.4. And then I'm going to do alkalinity of 80 and a hardness of 0. You shouldn't expect the alkalinity and hardness to change very much. And chlorine is pretty abnormal in fresh water. However, we've seen in some urban centers where people are getting readings up at 4, showing that there is some chlorination happening in those water bodies. You can also compare on the back here. It's the same idea. You can compare the colors. We also include a recycling container. We put our used test strips in there, and at the end of the season, use the envelope that we give you to mail your used test strips back to us for recycling. If you're part of our machine learning study, you can also take a photo of your test strip on our reference card, and this is going to help us interpret the colors using machine learning. So the test strips are a great way to get a general idea of the health of your waterways, and we use test strips rather than a meter because you don't need to calibrate it. So I hope you'll enjoy using your test strips to learn a little bit more about your freshwater.